If you don't want to end up like this guy or have your super credits stash plundered by meaningless items, then listen up and pay attention as we rank every Warbond from worst to best. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing as I'm trying to hit 10,000 subs by the end of April. And let me know how you'd rank these in the comments below. Without further ado, the worst Warbond I've ever bought has to be Killzone. Starting us off with better items, we get a heavy and light armor set, giving us the acclimated passive. Having all damage from fire, gas, acid, and arc is decently helpful, but nothing insane. Moving on to the worst items, we have the STA Assault Rifle. This feels like a two-handed SMG and not an AR. You'll run out of ammo way faster than it looks like it should be able to hold, and the damage output is majorly lacking with nothing game-changing coming from it. And since this Warbond collaborates with Killzone, it means none of the weapons can be customized like all of the other ones, from attachments to colors. This weapon isn't doing anything different than like 90% of all of the free guns out there. Next up, we have the Accelerator Rifle. Have you ever wanted a horribly inaccurate marksman rifle? Have you thought to yourself, man, I love missing 60% of my shots because my sniper rifle shoots in 3 volley bursts? And don't worry, whenever you're out of ammo, we're still gonna act like you're charging up your next shot and show you the animation just for when you need it to vanish. This rifle is extremely underwhelming, and I've unironically never seen anybody use it, other than my friend that got it as a free apology from Arrowhead. The rifle can barely take down medium-sized enemies, much less anything bigger, which is what I'd expect a marksman rifle to do. This one's super bad, not good. Next up is a literal bison, the STA SMG. The only way I can describe this is a piss stream of underwhelming sadness being launched at the enemies of freedom. It's one-handed, which is nice, but gets majorly outperformed and damaged by the literal next gun you get from the free Warbond, the Defender. It's very disappointing, and I'd really like to see them potentially buff the damage output at close range, as it just doesn't get the job done. Although I will give credit where it's due, it has a total of 8 magazines, which helps put this gun in my favorite spot for the entire Warbond. My summary for this piece of junk: if you like Killzone, then I apologize. But if you're not even aware of what that is, this Warbond is extremely not worth it. You get 3 mid guns at best and an okay-ish armor passive for 1,500 super credits, or $15 USD. Somehow, this is a legendary Warbond, and I just don't understand the appeal or value, which value is what this entire ranking's about. Before you try to come find me and kill me, let me say I grew up on Halo and I love it. I'm just trying to keep that bias out of these rankings. This Warbond collaborates with Helljumpers, or Halo ODST, which is an amazing game. We get 2 new armor sets with the Feet First passive, which lowers the amount of noise you make when moving around in half, reducing the range at which enemies can detect you. Also, you're now completely immune to leg injuries, so no more limping around, and a noticeable range buff to spotting any points of interest when running around. Here we've got the classic OG Halo rifle. It's so difficult trying to keep bias out of this. The sound design is literally perfect. The modeling is amazing. And when you go into first person mode, it has that iconic Halo look and feel. The bar is set very high for the rest of the guns, as this can easily handle medium to small enemies, but no color or weapon customization at all from any of these, which equals sadness. Next up is a suppressed SMG. This close quarters, extremely fast firing rate weapon is decent, but leaves me wanting so much more. The reticle is horrendous when aiming down sights to be more accurate than third person, and the ammo is gone almost immediately. With the Redacted Regiment Warbond out and covering stealth perfectly, I don't see the reason for spending more money to get something that performs worse than something that's way less expensive. Behold the bigger brother of the Punisher shotgun. This round-by-round reloading menace is the Watcher Obliterator. I found that I personally do enjoy bringing this to Illuminate, as it packs a staggering punch to Overseers and works wonders at delivering hard hits against Voteless. Issues I have with it are the total reload time and the amount of ammo that's given to you. I can't stand bringing this to Bug, as I get swarmed so fast I don't have time to wait for round-by-round reloading, although it can pop Alpha Commander heads off pretty well. For Bot, this is an absolute no-go, as it gets ricocheted by almost everything except basic foot soldiers. This is the Suppressed Pistol of Disappointment. It fires in semi-auto, which is decent, and accuracy isn't half bad, but the lack of damage and ammo is just awful. This gets outperformed majorly by every sidearm that's out there. Nothing in me even wants to go back and use this again. If you're a Halo fan and enjoy seeing these weapons in Helldivers, honestly, go for it. But for me, these weapons and nothing else except another okay-ish armor passive is so not worth the 1,500 super credit cost. Our 20th spot elevates your backyard barbecue to a whole nother level, the Freedom's Flame Warbond. We get a light medium armor set with the inflammable passive, which majorly reduces the amount of damage you take from fire. The best pump action shotgun there is the Cookout. Out of all of them, this is the only weapon I want to use from this Warbond. It packs an insane amount of stagger force, decent damage, and lights enemies ablaze. Over time, with different weapons being added and buffs shifting primaries around, it's really lost the majority of my appeal for round-by-round reloading weapons. Our new primary flamethrower is the Torture. Out of all flame-spewing weapons, this has the smallest range and least amount of fuel compared to the bigger guys, like the flamethrower support weapon or the backpack-fueled Pyro from TF2 Cremator. The only goal this accomplishes is freeing up your support weapon slot for something different if you still want to bring some flames. Capable of taking on any enemy type, this weapon is very self-explanatory, with zero modifications being available for it other than colors.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Here we have an oversized handheld lighter not meant for indoor use. The Crisper fills the same niche as the Torture, except instead of taking up either primary or support slot, it's now lodged itself into the secondary and won't leave, as you'll find it's melted to your hand permanently. Smaller enemies are lit ablaze faster than bigger guys, and the majority of all chaff mobs will freak out and run away when being burned alive, which, I mean, makes sense, I would too. Genuinely the most useless booster in this game is the Firebomb Hellpods. Have you ever called down a resupply, desperately needing a stem? Excited anticipation of the cold needle of liberty as it injects pure liquid freedom into your jugular? Well now, instead of bringing a helpful booster, you can blow yourself up! The radius and range are always random. It seems it makes no sense. Every time a Hellpod lands, no matter what it is, turret, SOS, or resupply, it blasts everything around it in fire. By everything, I mean literally only your teammates and nothing else. I'll never understand this or the reason why it's ran other than trolling people. This used to be ranked very highly of me, but now with so many other flame weapons, I've found myself only running the primary just to free up that support weapon slot, which absolutely is not worth 1,000 super credits. If I could do it all over again, I would just buy the flame armor in the superstore, not an entire Warbond. Number 19 is the Cutting Edge Warbond. Starting off, we get a light, medium, and heavy armor set containing the electrical conduit passive, granting us almost complete immunity to arc damage. The localization confusion booster lives up to its name as it leaves most users with said confusion. The game has a hidden mechanic that won't allow bug breaches or bot drops to happen within a specific period of time to make sure the game isn't majorly overwhelming players. The booster increases the time in between, extending it to about another half minute, which to me really isn't worth it. No, half a minute's an actual decent amount of time. Jimmy's mom tells me so. Okay, oversharing much. Also, dude, I'm in the middle of a video. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to. If you can let me get through this, we'll go to Super Dairy King after, okay? Can I get the super sprinkles? Sure, fine. Just no red ones. We both know how you act when you have red 40. Gosh, is this what having children's like? Would I buy this entire Warbond over again if it was just this weapon? Yes. Is that a good financial decision? No. The sickle is what every sci-fi movie blaster that's ever existed feels and sounds like. Not requiring actual metal ammo, but instead utilizing a heatsink. The more you shoot it, the more the heat builds up till it's cooked. And trust me, you're not going to be doing nothing till it's replaced. So be sure to pay attention to heat buildup by watching the barrel for steam and listening to the beeping sounds it makes. Cold plants reduce the cooldown time, by the way, which is pretty awesome. Would I also buy the Warbond if it was just this? You already know. The Punisher Plasma is a handheld mortar emplacement that blows everything in a 9-foot radius sky high, bolstering high damage output, good amount of total ammo, and being explosive. I love this gun. Lob it at any group of enemies and watch them all get blasted away, and utilize tactics like aiming for the ground in between a bunch of enemies instead of directly hitting one. This really shines in bug and illuminate fronts, and every now and then I always keep coming back to it. Behold the stun grenade. It's a flashbang, and you pulled it out of your ass, completely turning every enemy paraplegic. While enemies are dazed and confused, use this opportunity to aim for their weak spots, finishing them off. Or if you're getting swarmed, run away and create breathing room. I really do like these, but it's not explosive, meaning it cannot close spawners such as bug holes. The younger cousin of the arc thrower, now with 80% less damage, the Blitzer. This gun is genuinely terrible. The damage is laughable at best, the fire rate is disgusting, and it's only good at taking out tiny enemies. Not to mention the range is laughably bad. As far as a balanced gun worth the value for every front, it drags this Warbond down with it. Words can't describe how worthless you've proven yourself to be. The dagger is a laser sidearm and the baby brother of the scythe, which is an extremely expensive laser pointer that does a laughably underwhelming amount of damage. The heat sink burns up before you've even nailed the right spot on a bot, and I'd say that the default pistol outperforms this by far. Unless you're planning on an all-arc loadout or to protect yourself from literally 3 enemies that don't pose much threat to begin with, the armor sets are worthless. The Sickle and Plas Punisher are the only reasons I'd buy this. Even then, I hate admitting it, but I don't even use either of those guns much anymore. Not only do stratagems hail from this, but also war crimes. Behold, the Chemical Agent's Warbond. We get a light and medium armor set with advanced filtration passive, massively reducing gas damage. The gas grenade is one of the best throwables in the game and the entire reason why I bought the Warbond in the first place. Not only can they close every spawner, but you get 4, they have a massive area of effect, poison enemies over time, and send them all into a blinding rage. The way that gas works is inflicting its victim with psychosis, causing it to hear voices in their head telling them to kill their friends. Well, on Illuminate or Terminate planets where all they do is swarm, this is the perfect way to break their coordination and take them out entirely. Now, one of the most hated support weapons in this game is the Sterilizer. And I'll say it right now, it's because none of you all know how to use it. Whenever there's a mob of either Terminids or Squids, pull this out, spray them to create the gas effect, then swap back to a different weapon and finish them off now that they have no idea what universe they're in. The infamous stim pistol. I love supporting fellow divers, but when I point this at them, they immediately develop a phobia of needles or think I'm a dissident that needs to be put down like a rabid animal. It's extremely self-explanatory. You point it, you shoot it, and it stims teammates. I just don't understand why they don't make it lock onto fellow divers, as this is extremely difficult to stim at range amidst chaos. The dog breath guard, dog rover, I don't know what the fuck you call these anymore, backpack thingy that helps. Think of a kinda cute flying fog machine that loves committing atrocities, and its name is Cornelius. Don't judge me, I name my guard dogs. Fuck off. He follows always close by, spraying anything in a noxious cloud that makes them fall into forever sleep. Not caring how big an enemy is, this is a perfect tool to prevent swarming. Just be aware, he's a little silly guy who wants to kill you occasionally, as you'll definitely find yourself caught in its crossfire. I believe that gas is a heavily slept on weapon that excels on every front, but realistically the only things I'd ever use this for are the gas grenades and not much else. Since we're all Vietnamese, it's time to get back to our ancestral roots and create jungle warfare. We get a light and heavy armor set, giving us the peak physique passive, majorly increasing weapon handling and granting us a sizable melee damage buff. The baby version of the stalwart is the Liberator Carbine. Grinding out the levels to unlock the drum mag is essential to have this gun shine. It's a fire hose of bullets, an insane amount of damage, and perfect for every front including bot. Just swap it to burst mode for more pinpointed accurate shots and pop Devastator's faces off in no time. This is the anti-living stick, the Bushwhacker. This triple barrel shotgun is more satisfying than useful. Being able to hold 3 shotgun shells before needing to reload, you can either blast all of them at once or shoot individually. Using all at once can disintegrate bugs, making them explode, which is an amazing feeling. But in a practical sense, other than Terminids, the performance of this is actually depressing. Only being able to take out lightly armored enemies, I expected so much more from this. Moving on, we have the throwing knives. This is just satire. Nothing useful comes from these other than wasting a grenade slot. Giving you 20 is nice till you realize the reason why is because they're objectively the worst throwable in the entire game. If you want a challenging fun aspect in your loadout, go for it. If you want something actually useful, then trust me when I say skip these. The Experimental Infusion is one of the best boosters in this game. Wondering what that disgusting piss yellow circle taking up my entire screen was? Well, that'd be the morphine mixed with probably meth that they crammed into my stems. These buff you with increased movement speed and a higher damage resistance for about 10 seconds or so. The only things I'd ever realistically use from this are the Liberator Carbine sometimes and the Experimental Infusion, making this Warbond very not worth it to me. If any of that sounds cool, yeah, then go for it. But for me, this does not fit a personal playstyle. If you've wanted the excuse to kill teammates for hesitation against freedom's enemies, then the Truth Enforcer's Warbond's for you. Starting off, we get a light and medium armor set containing the unflinching passive, making it so whenever you're hit, your shot doesn't go wide, staying laser focused on whatever you're pointing it at. Plus gives you 25 higher armor points, and whenever you place markers on your minimap, it'll ping scanning for enemies to help you avoid patrols. This dual type shotgun's the Halt. To this day, I've never understood the appeal of it, being one of my least favorite weapons in the entire game, swapping between different ammo types for them to both do almost nothing, not to mention the worst reload speed ever. I cannot stand this weapon. The community loves it, but I just can't get behind it. Having to keep up and fumble between making sure both separate tubes are reloaded with the correct ammo, I hate this gun and it sucks. Previously, I said the Dead Sprint was the worst booster, but pairing it with the Vitality can change things entirely. When running a bigger armor set, you'll find yourself always out of stamina, begging to run further. Well, Dead Sprint after your stamina is consumed will allow you to keep running, now costing your health. When paired with the Vitality booster from the free HELLDIVERS Mobilized Warbond, you can sprint for almost 2 full minutes before needing to heal. Even then, having to crutch and rely on something else to improve oneself is never the way to go, meaning the dead sprint is okay at best. Moving on, we have the Reprimand. This used to be my favorite SMG, but the newest Warbond executed this poor sweet boy. It's a medium armor pen, two-handed, hard-hitting beast of a primary. The damage output is no joke, but the recoil is horrendous unless you grind out some of its available mods. For me, SMGs are amazing because of their one-handed abilities, meaning you compare it with things like the directional energy shield, ballistic shield, or carrying objective equipment without relying on your secondary. I refuse to give up hope on it and will always hold a special place in my heart, as this always got me through my toughest Illuminate dives. Last but not least is the Loyalist Sidearm. Think of a one-handed purifier. This plasma-based weapon can pack a staggering punch, making enemies flinch and stop for a moment in their tracks. You can either mag dump or hold down the fire button and charge up a powerful condensed shot, sending even heavy devastators reeling back and needing to recollect themselves. Quick side note, I know in the disclaimer I said I'm not ranking cosmetics in these, so honorable mention, this emote is Aura. The quality jump from all previous Warbonds from here on out is exceptionally higher. It's time to roleplay as a parade commander and march with the flag of Super Earth, presenting the Masters of Ceremony Warbond. We get a light and medium armor set giving us the Reinforced Epaulets passive, which increases our primary reload speed by 30%, a 50-50 coin flip chance to not have our limbs broken in half and get our chest ripped apart when hit, and an increase to our melee damage by half. Here we have the Amendment Marksman Rifle.
Meta this, meta that.
You ever met a girl cadet? Despite what people say about it, the Amendment is a solid choice. This semi-auto bayonet fixed weapon is the crazier older brother to the standard Constitution rifle, the one that took steroids and never looked back. Working with this armor perfectly, the sharp stick at the end is your go-to option when caught reloading with your pants down. Why do you always seem to reload without pants? A question that will never be answered, lost to the mysteries of the universe. Having a decent ammo capacity and good for weak spots against some armored and light enemies, this rifle's a ton of fun to bring, especially with any melee damage buffing armor. This decorated fine work of craftsmanship is the Saber. This weapon is a ton of fun to bring, especially pairing it with the ballistic shield, as it creates a fun melee diver build. Not only is it good for cutting down foes, but teammates that have fallen to evil Illuminate mind control, but also a fantastic addition to any kitchenware set, as it can perfectly cut even slices of super bread. Just ask Super Ramsey what he thinks about his that I gave to him for Liberty Day, as we're very close friends and I get invited to Super Hell's Kitchen all the time. The embodiment of our way of life is the one true flag of Super Earth. This beautiful melee weapon takes up your support weapon slot for good reason. Not only can you wave it around, plant it in the ground, stab bugs or friends, but you can utilize its special function that is pulling everything's aggro. Whenever you pull out, that's what she said, you rip everything's attention off your team in a mile radius. Now that everything's pissed off at you, run for your life to pull pressure off your team to allow them to achieve whatever objective you might be working on. This is extremely helpful and a very overlooked mechanic since the last update gave it an actual functional feature. This sample scanner gives you a 15% chance whenever picking up said sample to double it, including super samples. So if you're wondering how in the world you're going to be able to unlock ship upgrades, well, majority of us had to do without, but now that this fancy booster exists, it changes the game for sample farming. The beautiful spinning ball of destruction is the Pyrotech Grenade. You gloriously spherical shaped ball of perfection, you. This is one of my favorite throwables in the game. It's capable of killing Factory Striders, Chargers, Bile Titans, Hulks, doesn't matter, they're dead. When thrown after a short delay, it lights up, pushing itself off the ground and spraying heavy armor pin sparks everywhere that do an insane amount of damage. One well-placed throw can completely kill a Harvester, and 3 on a Factory Strider's foot will render it useless. Sound amazing? Well, there's more. You get 6 instead of the normal 4. Holy bars. Peeling your focus away from the big guys, you can throw them in a line, creating your own. We have the Eagle Napalm Strike at home. My summary is, if this sounds appealing, then honestly, I endorse this one a bit. Wish you got some sort of secondary from it, but if you're a beginner starting out, this isn't a horrible choice, especially considering the sample scanner. Alright, listen up, my Norwegian Siamese twins. This Warbond is for those who genuinely need to seek help in some form of therapy. No, but like, actually, why have I watched you rip a Terminator in half the long way? We get a light and very sexy heavy armor set that bestows the rock-solid passive. We get a noticeably sized melee buff and helps negate one of the most annoying mechanics in this game, which is ragdolling. Whenever you're hit with something big, it'll stagger you, meaning you limp over dramatically, can't stem, and take 3 business days to stand back up. Well, these armor sets give us a much-needed chance to not go spaghettiing our limbs around and flopping over like a dead fish. The 1-2 lives up to its name as a high-utility, dual-function AR. If the grenade pistol was fused to the bottom of a Liberator and had horrible ergonomics, ergonomics, that's what this is. Ergonomics is whenever you turn your gun side to side, the crosshair, depending on the weight, has to take a little bit of time to catch up. Functioning is a somewhat low-capacity rifle, but hot swapping to the underbarrel grenade launcher is extremely useful, especially on bug front for clearing out nests, freeing you up to either run utility-based throwables such as the stun grenades or being able to close spawners at the flick of a button. Also, please help, I'm on PC and I still haven't been able to figure out what keybind to immediately swap weapon function is. I might be stupid. One of my favorite backpack rovers is the hot dog. I can't describe the amount of times this thing has saved my life. It understands that it's a miniature arsonist that's home is fused to your back the moment you picked it up. This one's a little more rebellious than my other guard dog children, as he likes to wander a lot further away from home than his respectful siblings do. Not only is he edgy and defiant, but listening to My Chemical Romance on repeat as he burns everything alive in a 20-meter radius. Deep down in his emotionally confused mechanical heart, he always points away from its father to avoid burning him alive. It must be difficult for him as we'll never understand what he's truly going through. The defoliation tool is a siren, lustfully calling out to any Doom or 40k fans. It can kill literally anything. Factory striders, fabricators, hulks, chargers, you get the point. The stick of evisceration has arrived and it's ready to do your destructive bidding. This is an extremely high skill, high reward weapon as you'll find yourself dying a lot but looking cool as fuck in doing so. Using a jump pack to get on a charger and blast its entire back out with the shots of doom is an experience I'll never soon forget. I'm sorry, you're giving the charger what kind of shots? Carl, ice cream. Shut the fuck up. Some guy suggested an actual Doom Guy loadout for me to use that I ranked in another video, and I had an absolute blast with this weapon specifically. Being a little bit less functional but bringing a smile to my face as I lodged this two-handed chainsword into a stalker's face in front of his family is an experience I'll always hold dear to my heart. My beautiful sweet baby that always holds the front line is the maxi gun. If this was heavy armor pin, it would literally be my favorite support weapon, and this Warbond would be in the top 10 spot hands down. This backpack-fed minigun is the embodiment of holding down the front line. You get an insane amount of ammo and you're able to hold the trigger down for over an entire minute. Perfect for clearing out small to medium-sized enemies while being the wall of the front line you've always dreamed of being is where this weapon excels. I do personally hate not being able to move while using it. I get that it's a literal minigun and it would be difficult, but with the heavy armor sets, I feel like this could be possible, but whatever. This fire hose of destruction is a support weapon I'll go back to occasionally just to reenact that scene from Clone Wars. My summary is this Warbond's definitely filling more of a niche than extreme value and functionality, but still the gear is so high that it brings it up to rest in 14th place. This Warbond holds an extremely special place in my heart, and I'll tell you why later on. The Urban Legends is an almost perfect all-rounder. We get a light and heavy armor set giving us one of the best armor passives there is, Siege Ready, buffing our primary reload speed by 30% and increasing our total carrying ammo of about 20%. The Stun Lance is the first melee weapon to ever be introduced to Helldivers just as we thought we might not be getting one. Paralyzing its victims on contact and having an impressive range, this falls more into a niche weapon than functional, although I completely understand the appeal of bringing it. The Directional Energy Shield is an absolute go-to of mine, specifically on bot front only. Pairing with the Pummeler or Stoker SMG, it allows one-handed weapons to really shine and show how useful they can really be. Encompassing your entire front side and having plenty of room for your teammates to also hunker down behind, I always bring this when support diving. Being able to tank one-shotting attacks like cannons, tank rounds, or the Factory Strider's cannon, it'll burst the shield but you'll be left alive. Once it's absorbed damage, it'll weaken it until it starts flashing red, giving you a clear visual indicator it's time to fall back behind more solid cover. Once it's popped, wait a short amount of time as it'll recharge itself, putting you right back into the fight. I cannot stress if you're an SMG lover how much to get this.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Me, Goku! Have you ever thought, man, I love guns, wish I could have more? Then look no further. The armed resupply boosters got you covered. Remember those times you were out of grenades, maybe needing a stim and under intense enemy fire? Well, the resupply you called in now has a dual drum mag-fed AR strapped to the top of it. Does it increase the laughable amount of health they already have? No. Does it blow up after a single shot? Yes. This is only good for evacuate high-value asset missions as you're stuck in a location defending it off till it's complete. Even then, I barely notice this actually doing something. It's like a cheesy story where they once hate each other and then fall deeply in love after understanding their differences. The Flame Sentry is a difficult sucker to figure out, but in this at choke points is exactly where it excels. Keeping enemies focused on you while tucking it into a corner and luring them past it is absolutely the play. A few updates ago, they changed fire so small guys freak out when being burned, so it mends one of my biggest hatreds about it, which was its pathetic range. Not only is it useful, but if done correctly, you can get some insane kill streaks going on. The short recall small time and small fire explosion when destroyed really helps this shine for the first time ever. This gaming chair of democracy is the anti-tank emplacement. Never in my life have I seen such an extraordinarily useful piece of equipment. It has an insane zoom when scoping in with your super binoculars and is the bane of any heavy's existence. Capable of rivaling Vox engines, factory striders, and even Hive Lords, this beautiful seat of liberation attached to a literal cannon is everything I've ever wanted from an emplacement. With this majorly outperforming the machine gun emplacement, mark my words, I expect them to buff the other one soon. It's able to clear out every side objective, snipe a shrieker nest from across the map, obliterate bot drop ships, and send illuminate tripods backflipping into whatever tyrannical mother they crawled out of. This one's very special to me as I was in the middle of playing with two old friends while major order diving. I had the HELLDIVERS Discord up just scrolling through announcements instead of, actually helping them, and I kid you not, the moment the Illuminate were announced in urban environments, which me and my buddies had always been dreaming of, were released that weekend night. Lacking a firearm primary or even a support weapon is the main reason why this is placed in the 13th spot. If I was newer, I'd absolutely not recommend this to somebody. This is the one you buy after acquiring a bigger arsenal to even use the energy shield properly. If you remember the mobs of the Halo 3 midnight release and thought crowd control was needed, then this Warbonds for you. As always, a light and medium armor set containing the ballistic padding passive. When worn, you get increased resistance to explosive and chest damage. Also, whenever that torso icon appears, you'll no longer bleed out everywhere as it's incredibly bad for your health. The pacifier is an extremely slept on primary I've found myself bringing more and more. Fitting in perfectly for small to medium sized enemies, it's meant to create distance between you and your adversaries. If Illuminator zombies are ganging up, start wildly hip firing it, and just like that, they're all concussed, wondering where in the world their lives went wrong. You get plenty of spare ammo and extreme utility, but pay for it in damage, being lower than most normal ARs simply because the stunning rounds it fires aren't enough to punch through where it needs to. This has become my favorite support weapon, perfect on every front no matter where or what they are. The de-escalator is an extremely versatile, high ammo capacity, round by round reload hybrid grenade launcher. Damn, that's a mouthful. That's what she said! Every projectile that's shot explodes into extremely dangerous arc energy. Discharging rapidly and covering a massive area, it doesn't care what its armor rating is other than it's destroying anything that has the misfortune of coming into contact with it. Pairing it with the jump hack is an insane combo, as once pressure gets to be too much, dipping out and carpet bombing everything that was swarming you is now dead. Getting 800 to 900 kills with this is easily accomplished on terminated fronts. The de-escalator is one of the best support weapons I've ever had the privilege of running and would encourage you to do the same. Now we have the stun pod booster. Words carry a lot of weight that can really negatively or positively impact things based on what we say. I hate this stupid piece of shit! Have you ever thought about instead of bringing an empty booster spot, filling it with something that's somehow surprisingly even worse? The stun pods paralyze everything that's around it when landing, similar to the firebomb, except instead of killing you, you'll want to kill yourself. You'll never want to bring this again, is what I meant to say. Ever wanted to call down a brand new support weapon all shiny and smelling like your Super Destroyer's diffuser? Which for exemplary level 150 HELLDIVERS, we get access to Eagle Sweat's new patent pending technology. As a fragrance enthusiast myself and trying to have my own collection, if somebody can actually point me to an online sale of Eagle Sweat, that'd be awesome. I'm asking for a friend, yeah. I'm not madly in love with Eagle One or anything like that. Back to what's important, calling down your support weapon or resupply will paralyze you completely. This booster, it's stupid, die! This painful fun time toy you can experiment with is called the Urchin. This causes whatever it's stuck to factory reset, lasting about half a minute, which as we all know is a very long time. Stunning things like Bile Titans, Hulks, and even tanks, this is an incredibly overlooked throwable. Perfect for choosing what your team is dealing with and keeping the hordes in your control. Be warned, they have no destructive capability and don't do damage, but each one detonates over and over in a small AoE, not just affecting the impaled victim, but those around it. Think of it as a higher IQ version of the stun grenade. I have an actual love-hate relationship with the K9 guard dog. Unlike Cornelius, as we all know and love, and opposed to Zuko, my edgy flame dog, Mr. Sparky Zap Off Your Assington I either love or hate. It's an arc thrower that became self-aware and can now fly. He either scores me like 30 kills in a single shot or hits me directly in the torso with no enemies in sight. I've tried all parenting methods I can think of, but still have an extremely difficult time with this one. Never seeming to listen and having a horrible targeting system, at least to me it does. I don't know how to feel about it. Personally, I'd rather just have the flame or regular AR guard dog over this guy. Alright, bitches, it's summary time. Sorry, I don't know why I felt so aggressive there. I feel as though this is really good for both advanced players and brand new cadets. Having a primary that keeps enemies away is extremely helpful, I don't care who you are. The guard dog having your back is always a plus, especially early on, as they're extremely useful buddies. If horde control's your thing, then go for it. But I really don't prefer the canine or urchin over other backpacks and throwables. It's time to celebrate Super Christmas by shooting every enemy known to mankind, the Polar Patriots. We get 3 different armor sets and passives. The one on the far left makes us throw things a lot further. The middle reduces recoil when crouching or laying flat, plus halves all damage from explosions. And the far right makes it harder for enemies to spot us, additionally adding the cool scanning minimap feature we get from the Truth Enforcers. The Tenderizer is a light armor pin player's dream. If you're skilled enough to know what weak spots to hit, light pin can really shine in your loadout. The Tenderizer puts emphasis on how slept on guns like it truly are. It has 2 adjustable fire rates of decent to fast as fuck. The scope and firing modes can be adjusted as well. This extremely low, almost zero recoil rifle is limited on ammo capacity, so in my personal preference, swap it to burst mode and pop enemies where needed. Surprisingly enough, this used to be my go-to for bots, as it could obliterate Devastator faces with insane accuracy. I'd really love to see a drum mag mod for it in the future, but I doubt we'll ever get one, sadly. The Motivational Shocks booster is genuinely one I've never seen used before. It's supposed to help recovery time of environmental hazards such as ice flowers. Not effective against status effects like EMS, it helps us get back to speed after an acid attack or planetary flora that wants you dead. One of my personal favorite guns in the game has to be the Pummeler. This concussive SMG really stands far above all others. Being similar to the Pacifier except a lot more ammo capacity and higher utility, this one paired with shields is an unstoppable duo. Grinding out the drum mag for this is essential as it holds 75 rounds per reload. The Incendiary Impact is a throwable meant for immediate area denial. Exploding fire in a decent radius and creating a barrier against you and tyranny, these can definitely be helpful in the right situation. I personally can't stand it because the fire lasts for a pathetic amount of time and the initial explosion does nearly nothing. With the Incendiary Grenade majorly outranking these, this throwable's kinda worthless to me. The Purifier is a bigger version of the Loyalist sidearm we've covered previously. You can plasma dump or charge up high damage area of effect shots. Shooting this at the ground between enemies will send them comedically flying in all directions, making this extremely satisfying to use. Just be careful not to shoot too close to yourself as it doesn't discriminate, it eliminates. Although it's explosive, it lacks the destructive power to close spawners such as bot fabricators or bug holes. The Verdict is a pistol I'm confused with. It's a higher damage version of the game's standard sidearm Peacemaker and a low capacity medium armor pin weapon that's really boring. Being better than other sidearms, I can see why the community likes it, but with other options such as the Ultimatum or Senator in upcoming Warbonds, I've never understood why people would ever pick this over other ones. The Polar Patriots gives plenty of different primaries and armor passes to play around with, making it decently valuable. You get a new throwable, new sidearm, and plenty of gear, so I definitely recommend it to newer players. The Steeled Veterans Warbond is for those who are seasoned in combat and have lost important body parts. We get 3 different armor sets all containing the servo-assisted passive, increasing the throwing range of everything majorly and a decent buff to limb health. The Senator is the most iconic sidearm I've ever seen. This 6-shooter of democracy can rival the biggest challenges. Ran out of ammo on your primary? Well, swap to your backup and level the playing field against Hulks, Harvesters, Bile Titans, it doesn't matter. This heavy armor pin, high damage, beautiful piece of craftsmanship will always be close to my heart as the first weapon I ever unlocked from a Warbond. The Liberator Concussive was one of the most overlooked weapons. It's the perfect rifle for any new cadet or veteran. Unlike the Pacifier or Pummeler that stuns enemies, this bad boy shoves them like 10 feet back and stops any medium to lower enemy's charge. Think of yourself as the bouncer of this planet and the enemies are pesky customers causing trouble in your fine dining establishment. This game is a horde shooter at times, and what better way to combat that than practically backhanding everything that gets too close for comfort. This weapon teaches newer players how to properly handle recoil, reserve ammo when needed, and force enemies off of you. I cannot think of a better primary for almost every front. The Incendiary Grenade is a better version of its impact cousin. Pull the pin and throw to deliver managed democracy in a wide area of fire that burns for up to half a minute. Bug Breach popped up, throw a few around it, and watch that kill streak easily get up to 40. Similar to the Pyrotech, throw them out in a line in front of you and watch as everything that comes crawling through gets charred to a beautiful husk. Not super great against bots, but for Illuminate and especially Bug is where these shine. The Breaker Incendiary is one of the best shotguns out there. Amazing against any hordes, it lights everything it touches on fire and turns their bodies quickly into unrecognizable tyranny. Giving you 4 drum mags of these phosphorus rounds, that's able to combat any Terminated and obliterates whatever victim has the misfortune of being on the other side of its barrel. This guy used to be a massive meta, but I've honestly preferred the standard breaker shotgun compared to this one from the free Warbond. Still able to get the job done, this brings a more unique and dynamic function to shotguns. The Dominator is such a disappointment. It needs to be heavy armor pin. The ergonomics are horrible and take forever to move around, doing a small amount of damage, only medium armor pin, and has like 8 shots till you're out. I really expect this to be buffed soon as it's being outclassed by a lot of newer weapons to the point I just don't see anybody bringing it anymore. The Dominator used to be my favorite gun to bot dive with, but as of now, it's not worth it anymore. Whenever you run out of reinforcements, you gotta wait 2 minutes. This booster cuts that down to 1:45, giving around a 10% reduction. This piece of junk isn't even worth using, don't worry about it. The Steeled Veterans offer some of the best gear. The Senator is the perfect sidearm, and the Liberator Concussive really shines if people gave it more of a chance. I definitely recommend this to anybody newer. Calling all outlaws and cowboys, it's time to super saddle up and go bounty hunting. Introducing the Borderline Justice Warbond. We get light and heavy sets, granting us the Gunslinger passive, boosting handling, reload speed, and accuracy of all sidearms majorly. First up is the Deadeye. This precision lever action rifle is definitely one of my top 5 favorite weapons to bring on bot. Acting as a sniper and one-shotting any Devastator's face, it really shines at precision long-range combat. But with almost zero recoil, sitting on top of a building and picking off targets is definitely the playstyle this encourages. The Talon is the laser hybrid of the Senator with less armor pen. Perfect for medium to smaller enemies, it functions just like the Sickle and Dagger, meaning it's a laser-based sidearm. One actually worth bringing this time. Punching with a high amount of damage and being amazing in cold terrain, this sidearm is definitely a must-get, similar to the Senator. Just be wary about firing too much, as that heat sink can burn up if not paid attention to. Your newest throwable is the Dynamite. This time-adjustable explosive packs an insane radius, one bigger than that of the infamous Giga Grenade. You can program this to detonate after 5 seconds, 15 seconds, or an entire minute. Why would you need an entire minute? Because at evac, you can toss it back and forth playing hot potato with your team until one inevitably meets their demise. I've been growing a sweet spot for this the more I've used it, and it's easily made it to my top 3 favorite throwables. The Hover Pack is an extremely high utility support backpack. Unlike the Jump Pack that launches you forward, the Hover Pack is meant to scale on top of large objects, making it perfect for finding and scouting out objectives. In urban environments, you can keep scaling building from building, getting to higher ones until you've eventually reached an honored elevated status.
I alone am the honored one.
Oh, come on, don't act like you weren't expecting it. That was funny. The Sample Extractor Booster is one you easily pair with the Sample Scanner mentioned previously. Once defeating larger, more difficult enemies, there's a small chance they drop samples upon death. Just be aware that this is maxed out at 10 and they can only be common ones. The summary is, if you enjoy a more scout-based supportive role to your team and want a new primary, secondary, throwable, and support stratagem, all of these are amazing picks. The armor passes will definitely help any future sidearms you might get really shine. It's time to die as a martyr and get your name put on Super Earth's Hall of Fame, the Servants of Freedom. Our 2 new medium armor sets are bomb best. Our new armor sets give us the integrated explosives passive, detonating our body after death and increasing our throwables by 2. The sickle that's become 20 times more violent and dangerous, the double-edged sickle. They've entirely removed the protective heat sink and said have fun. The longer you hold down the trigger, the more it heats up. The more it heats up, the higher armor pin value it has. Sound nice? Well, don't worry, you'll pay for it with your life. Whenever you spray down suppressive laser fire, it'll get hot enough to start inflicting damage. You can either constantly stim through it, hoping you can tank it, or die. This is a very high risk, not that high reward weapon that I used to see in meta all the time. Pairing this with the heavy flame armor from the Superstore and the Vitality Booster is a different story as you become a one-man walking anti-tank army. The Ultimatum is my favorite secondary. This pocket nuke you surprise the enemy with is a miniature warhead that has about a 30-foot projectile range at most. So be careful not to blow yourself up and flick it out at whatever tank or charger is heading your way, as this can completely one-shot it. This bad boy used to be able to take out stratagem jammers and detector towers with one shot, but he got too silly and we had too much fun. This is, oh gosh, where do I even start? It's a nuke that you strap to yourself. The Hellbomb backpack isn't for cowards. Being the best item I've ever brought, a portable nuke that has enough firepower to take out smaller countries and send shockwaves to the closest neighboring ones. Diving on lower difficulties and giving it to cadets, turning them into the stratagem, is one of my favorite pastime activities. The Homing Piss Missile of Doom, the Seeker. This miniature kamikaze drone can strike down anything you ping after throwing it. Not targeting bug holes and able to take out shrieker nests, these are amazing to throw throw at Watchers, as you can easily avoid Illuminate dropships entirely. Their targeting system was broken a while ago, but in recent updates it fixed it, restoring these to their former glory. The summary is, if you want to blow everything up and get a decent primary, a cool utility throwable, and a miniature nuke stick, go for it. I definitely recommend the Hell Bomb, as it can quickly clear out some of the biggest objective mission pains there are out there. It's time to become an all-terrain dragon roach slaying machine, the Dust Devil's Warbond. We get a light and heavy armor set, giving us the Desert Stormer passive, granting us 40% resistance to gas, fire, acid, and arc damage, plus 20% extra throwing range. I'm sorry, but it's an objective fact. This is one of the best ARs in the entire game, the Coyote. This high ammo capacity, fast and responsive rifle not only does an insane amount of damage, but is medium armor pen. Thought that was all? No, it sets enemies on fire. Still think that's it? It has the anti-material rifle scope for a mod. This is the best primary weapon I've ran into on any front. Not only is it extremely versatile, but amazing at packing that extra needed punch with its armor pen. Bile spewers are no longer a problem. Devastators get clapped no matter where they're shot, and it's a menace against flying automaton gunship thrusters. I'm very surprised I haven't seen some sort of balance change for it yet, but hey, it's been out for at least half a year and nothing so far. I'd absolutely recommend this primary. It's a ton of fun to bring, and the sound design is peak. The spear gun's such a weird support weapon. It's the closest thing we're getting to a gas launcher and is heavy armor pen. Even though I've only ever seen it ran on bug front, my personal preference is actually against bots. Not only can it one-shot Hulks in the eye, but everything around it is now being confused and poisoned, not knowing where in the world they're supposed to shoot at. It lacks in longer than normal reload time and very low ammo economy, making this useful only for very specific situations. I can't tell if this is an underrated or overrated weapon, if I'm being completely honest. The expendable napalm is immediate area denial. Having a similar function to the incendiary grenade, draw a line between you and the enemy and slap these down on any bug breach you see. The projectile itself doesn't do a ton of damage like its cousin, the expendable anti-tank, obviously, but it instead focuses on an extremely short call-in cooldown and major area denial. With its fire, it explodes everywhere. This is a treasure amongst expendable loadout divers and a must-bring for Terminid and Illuminate fronts. The Solo Silo is a laser-guided 500-kilogram Eagle Bomb. Whenever you call it down, it politely asks you to grab its tiny television remote of destruction. Scoping it and clicking it immediately skips through the channel, now broadcasting immense destruction in the wailing of tyranny. Really excelling in clearing side objectives such as biofuel processors or spore spewers at extreme range, I can see why I witnessed so many people bringing this. The Pineapple is a confused clusterfuck of a grenade, not meant for targeting specific enemies, instead giving into your psychotic nature as a mass bug murderer. They carpet bomb a massive area. The community isn't a fan of them, but I encourage you to give them a try. Bring something that can easily eliminate and pick off tanks such as the Solo Silo, then throw a few of these around to clear up any chaff. Want a wider area of effect, or maybe condense it down to minimize friendly fire? Throw it higher up for a bigger burst and the opposite for a smaller burst. The Dust Devils really gives you a ton of different support weapons that excel in their own unique ways. The armor passives are amazingly balanced and perfect for any enemy, any terrain, in any condition. The Pineapple isn't the best throwable, but it's good at area control against medium-sized enemies. If this is one that you're interested, I definitely say go for it. I proudly present to you the closest thing we're ever getting to Titanfall 3 and the brand new Warbond, the Exo Experts. We get a light and heavy armor set with the oxygenated passive, buffing our sprinting and running speed along with being able to slide further and longer. So heavy fans rejoice as your massive armor set can finally hustle. The Gallant is the newest primary and it's a power puncher. This medium armor pen one-handed SMG is extremely similar to the Knight from the Super Citizen edition of the game, meaning this weapon has an incredibly high fire rate. It can be paired with a ballistic or energy shield, and when set to burst, packs a hard hit against bots. You get 8 total max, but be warned, if you're gonna throttle the trigger, then expect to be reloading quite a bit. The Bulletstorm is an expendable machine gun. This light armor pen weapon is extremely good at clearing hordes of smaller enemies. Not only does it pack insanely high damage, but holds 300 rounds. The cooldown's very low, being only a minute 30, and you get 2 of these amazing mob clearing weapons. Surprisingly enough, this has climbed higher than the Stalwart in my opinion. Just be warned, it doesn't have a reticle and it doesn't have super great ergonomics either. Our new exosuit is the Lumberer. All mechs got a massive health buff, doubling it, so they're finally worth bringing. Equipped with an anti-tank cannon holding 25 rounds that can one-shot a charger and two-shot a Bile Titan's head. Expect it to have a horrible reload speed? Well, it's only out of commission for 2 seconds after firing. Terminids piling up or Voltless swarming? Well, blast everything with a heat wave of fire as you keep chaff at bay and crush the heaviest enemies this game has to offer. This mech has been an absolute blast to run and I've really grown to love it. The Missile Pistol is a heat-seeking secondary. You get 4 shots and they pack a punch. Capable of killing heavies such as Spore Titans or Impalers, you'll be happy to know without a shield they can one-shot Harvesters. They even lock onto side objectives such as Shrieker Nests. I absolutely love this approach and expansion to the sidearm category. The Breakthrough is my favorite mech ever. This absolute beast is equipped with a 6-shot flat cannon on its right arm and a high-damage staggering ballistic shield on the left. Performing insanely well against bot, if placed right, you can one-shot hulks, tank an insane amount of fire, and bash heavy devastators into oblivion. Be warned, you do have to reload the flak shotgun after you've spent its ammunition. If a charger's barreling towards you, hold the front line and bash its forehead in. If you're daring enough, you can smack Bile Titan legs and kill them even. Also, for those of you who've played the first game and know what the stratagem launcher is, the shadow is appearing on top of the mech, and there's a spot for it. Look, right there. That's the stratagem launcher. Am I going insane or? I absolutely love this mech and already have the Truth Enforcer's black and red skin equipped for it. If you love the high-octane movement speed that the armor passive gives, which I'm having an absolute blast with as a speed diver myself, want insane firepower and a ton of different approaches to any front, then the Exo Experts is definitely for you. I'd absolutely recommend this. If commando operations are too difficult, then I present one of the best Warbonds, the Redacted Regiment. We get a light and medium armor set, giving us the reduced signature passive. You make half as much noise when moving around, and enemies have a 40% harder time spotting you, making this one of the best armor sets. Your newest suppressed marksman rifle is the Sensor. This subsonic ammo semi-automatic rifle is perfect for taking out posted up bots and terminids that get a little too close for comfort. As long as the enemy isn't directly staring at its friend you just blew up, they won't even turn around to try to find you. It's a little low on damage output and only light armored pin, but the utility majorly makes up for it. The Reeducator is a majorly overlooked caustic sidearm. It injects a potent chemical into its victims and damages them over time. Not only that, it immediately sends them reeling in confusion. This is the perfect counter for those annoying charging flesh mobs that never give you personal space. Just pop one and watch them slam through your HOA's front door. Reminding the house owner of its spouse, it'll quickly fit in and they'll live happily ever after. Being a little low on ammos, you only get 2 reloads before all the fun time is over. Think of this as the anti-stim launcher. This full auto suppressed weapon is, well, the suppressor. Who's in charge of these dumbass names, Carl? I don't know, but it really lives up to it. This light armor pin AR feels like an almost zero recoil version of the Liberator carbine, except suppressed. And before you carbine fans dox me, I want to raise a counterpoint. It can also have a drum mag if you max out its levels, plus an insanely good scope. So boom, got him, I guess. Anyway, the subsonic round spewer's bullets have a lower velocity, but the utility of it being suppressed is unmatched. It feels very satisfying to use, and the sound design's amazing. I'd heavily suggest all of these weapons. My beautiful, sweet, beloved, I mean C4 pack. It's exactly what it sounds like. You get 6 sticks of C4 that do insane damage in a massive radius. Holding down the reload trigger that's in your support weapon slot, you can swap between deploy and detonate, depending if you want to keep throwing more or blow everything up. My favorite way to use this is to either call down a resupply and use it, attaching 40-something sticks of C4 to my friend and telling them to go forth, my little shitfuck, making them the weapon of democracy and me the happy spectator to my own chaotic problems I can't seem to not cause. Another playstyle is stealthing your way through heavy outposts and slapping one on each fabricator, then resupplying to do it to all outposts until finally, impressing your entire team, detonate it, wiping out every single encampment, leaving your squad in shock thinking somebody had to have hacked the game. This backpack is a ton of fun to bring and an amazing support weapon that's brought me not just functional items, but lots of laughs, which is the most important thing. The lure mine is exactly what it sounds like. Use this when patrols get too close and draw all attention away from yourself. Running away without enemy pressure on you and no bot drops is exactly what we want. The frisbee of unending eternal damnation is also anti-tank. Hulks or chargers getting too close? Dug a trench with your team and need to keep enemies away? Litter these proximity-based bombs everywhere. Just be sure not to step too close because they have zero chill and will absolutely kill on sight. The concealed insertion is one of the only helpful hell pod affecting boosters out there. Whenever your support weapon resupply or even hell bombs for objectives are being called down, upon impact, smoke explodes everywhere, completely blinding the enemy's line of sight to you. This can be essential if becoming swarmed and perfect for getting the hell bomb arm off and destroying whatever objective you needed to complete. The summary is, if you love high tactical IQ plays, then the Redacted Regiment's for you. For the longest time we begged for stealth, and finally seeing it make its appearance into the game has me extremely happy. You get basically an entire brand new loadout and plenty of ways to perfect stealth dives. If you get this, then I'll be sure to check the shadows in case I spot you, fellow Helldiver. The people who use all this gear in a complete set are genuine psychopaths. The Siege Breaker's Warbond. We get a medium and heavy armor set that gives us supplemental adrenaline passive. Whenever you take damage, it regenerates stamina and gives you plus 25 higher armor rating. My favorite support weapon is the Breaching Hammer. It's time to wave the wand that kills everything. This anti-tank clapper is insane when pairing with the jump pack to close distance and single out bigger enemies. Capable of one-shotting hulks, tanks, and even fabricators, it's the best weapon to bring on any front. If you're getting swarmed, just crouch and slam into the ground in front of you and blast every enemy off. This melee weapon, be warned, only has 7 reloads before or it's just a normal hammer. But fret not, that just means that you can take more supplies, because what would your team be without Mr. 40k Thunder Hammer over here? The Trident's an interesting primary. This laser-based shotgun basically takes 3 scythes, straps them together, makes them shoot in harder bursts, and gives it a horrible heat buildup. Only able to shoot 15 times on normal planets and 19 on cold, before needing to replace the heatsink. It does good damage for all factions such as Bot or Illuminate. It's impressed me with how much it's able to accomplish. You don't have to worry about being super accurate to pop a Devastator's face off, just point it in the general direction and it'll get the job done. The Ultimatum's older, sexier, and more explosive older brother's the Leveler. This is like an expendable 500 kg bomb with an insanely low cooldown time. You'll be calling this in constantly. Be warned, the range isn't super impressive and does require a little bit of skill to master its drop-off at longer distances. Always give a little more space than you think, especially at closer range, because you'd rather blow up the guys in the back than your entire squad. This is perfect for sealing Bile Titan hulls, tanks, and the biggest enemies of freedom.
I'm gonna help do the rest.
No, Carl, you're not. We've actually had a pretty peaceful video today without you.
You take that back right now, you son of a bitch.
Dude, we're almost at the end.
I'm almost at my end with Jimmy's.
Dude, shut the hell up! The belt-fed grenade launcher has become one of my favorite support weapons for bug I've ever had the privilege of touching. Spewing explosive and insanely high damaging rounds, it can be adjusted from 160 RPM, 240 to 320 rounds a minute. The backpack holds a total of 120 rounds, so you can lay down heavy armor pin suppressive fire for an extremely long time. It doesn't have a scope or any fancy reticle, as it doesn't need it. Just pure destruction held at your waist. Show those pathetic life forms what true firepower really is. The bubble of protection that keeps my mortar emplacements alive is the shield generator throwable. This is my second favorite throwable in the entire game. Slap it on any of your friends, emplacements, turrets, or whatever you want to protect to ensure it stays in the fight. This is an amazing tool for being overrun by bot fire. Throw however many you want at your feet to get that reload off you've been needing, or take a moment to stem and gather your bearings. This is a portable pause button to any fight, and if timed right, you can survive the outer explosion radius of an Eagle 500 or an orbital precision strike. Factory Strider cannon looming down at you? A perfectly timed throw at your feet can tank one attack of any kind that isn't melee, acid, fire, or arc. So any Illuminate Harvester beams or automaton tank blasts can be survived. I love seeing more utility-based throwables being added, and I hope to see this kind of gear expanded upon. The summary is Siege Breakers brings the big boom more than 5 times without having your brother die. I'd absolutely recommend it. This insanely weird mixture of everything's the control group. We get a medium and heavy armor set with the Adreno Defibrillator passive. Upon death, assuming our limbs are still attached, we get a short resurrection that can be continued by stemming. And with that stem, we get a longer regeneration period. Also, slight resistance to arc damage. This is one of the weirdest guns ever, the Variable. Think of it as a highly customizable Nerf blaster, the Modulus specifically. If you know, you know. This multifunctional volley gun that can have its RPMs adjusted and firing mode changed to full auto, burst, or volley, which shoots the entire mag at once, is perfect for blasting out hulks, backs, or one-shotting a harvester if you can nail it in the eye. Just be sure you're prepared for the insane recoil from total mode. Next up is my favorite ranged anti-tank weapon, the Epoch. This makes the railgun weep in comparison to its massive size. But size doesn't mean anything, it's what it's capable of. And the Epoch is capable of obliterating literally anything it comes into contact with. This extremely high-risk, very high-reward explosive plasma launcher can take out dropships or close any spawner. You get 4 reloads containing 3 shots each, which is an extremely impressive amount of ammo. Freeing up your backpack slot for anything you might want, it's potentially fused itself to my hand as I don't want to remove it. Be cautious and listen for that mechanical whine, as if overcharged, it'll explode everything around it, including itself, leaving you without a support weapon and without a body, just the same as the railgun. The Laser Sentry is one of the best anti-tank turrets to bring specifically on cold planets. Capable of felling hulks and crushing any flesh mobs in its way, it's a turret that does insane damage but needs a little help. Keeping chaff away from it and making sure it doesn't overheat is a must. Once it overheats, it explodes, leaving you with a melancholy feeling of sadness. The Warp Pack is one of the biggest reasons this Warbond has been pushed so high. Being the perfect item for super credit farming, is it allows you to teleport anywhere, including through friendship doors. People use this item mainly for super credit farming all the time in combat. This extremely useful backpack really lives up to the community's reputation of it. Be sure not to teleport as much as you want, as just like the Epoch, it'll explode. Teleporting while purple is safe, orange will break a body part or set you on on fire, and red will just blow you up. The ARC grenade is a portable lightning storm that's both violent and amazing, getting 5 and detonating over 4 times, making this extremely useful for paralyzing crowd control. Unlike the urchin and stun mentioned previously that don't inflict damage, it will eviscerate anything that gets close. Every time they detonate, they blast off in different directions, so be sure to call these out before just throwing. If you feel like it's too close for comfort or need to recover something in the radius, lay flat on the ground as it'll keep you from being shocked to death. The control group is extremely useful for farming super credits and unlocking newer Warbonds for free. The variable and armor sets are a blast to bring and can be comedic at times. Definitely be sure you pick this one up. Reenacting World War I has never been more fun with the Entrenched Division Warbond. We get 2 armor sets with the concussing padding passive, then 2 unique sub-passives per. The left is the Grenadier variant, having all explosion damage and increasing throwables by 2. The right is the Hazmat, same with the half explosion damage, 25% resistance to gas, and a sidearm recoil reduction of 30%. The Stoker is one of the best multifunctional weapons to any front I've ever seen. Most SMGs have a high rate of fire and low ammo capacity. This trades the fire hose of bullets for a more utility-based approach by strapping an under-barrel flamethrower on it. Being one-handed, you can run away and cover the area behind you and fire, or swap back to bullets by holding the reload button and selecting the appropriate button. Flame is extremely good against heavy enemies, and having something like this for newer players is game-changing. Also, you can grind the levels on it to unlock a drum mag. The entrenchment tool is a shovel that takes up your secondary spot, meant for digging out trenches and providing cover for your mortars and teammates. Setting up a defensive perimeter at objectives like raising the flag is absolutely peak. The Giga Grenade is an immediate anti-tank denial tool with an insane radius. The hitbox seems to be slightly wonky, but vast majority of the time these do exactly what I need them to. Being 3 massive grenades strapped together, these impact detonating sticks of destruction are perfect at clearing out mobs or obliterating any heavies. Just be aware you only get 2 of these insanely good throwables. The gas mortar is one of the best sentries I've ever used. The biggest problem with mortars is friendly fire. When enemies swarm your team, they still target the closest ones, majority of the time blowing up your friends. Since gas takes health down instead of just blowing them up, it confuses the horde around them and gives your team plenty of time to stim and get out of range. Perfect for newer players as you'll learn how to strategically dig holes and place mortars down into it to provide more effective cover fire. Just be sure to ping your sentry whenever it's landed to let your team know to be ready for any caustic clouds of poison. The Cremator is one of the best backpack support weapons ever. This powerhouse of your loadout will always be one of the best swarm clearers. Having an insane range that does incredible damage, this anti-everything blowtorch of liberty can be used for over an entire minute before running out of fuel. Confusing small chaff and dealing insane damage to heavies, I'd suggest getting the heavy flame resistant armor from the Superstore and pairing this with it, making you an unstoppable flaming wall of freedom. If you've ever needed to pull a backhand out of your pocket, then the Veto is for you. I can't think of a better sidearm for newer players as this has 0 damage drop off, meaning since the rounds are jet propelled, they always go in a straight line and punch extremely hard, just like the Liberator concussive. Whenever something gets too close, stop an Overseer's charge or terminate attack by blasting it with this, holding 12 rounds and reloading in clips of 6, similar to the autocannon. If you have 7 rounds, you have to shoot 1 more to be able to reload and fit another 6, if that makes sense. The Entrenched Division gives you a new throwable, a staggering secondary, and a primary that functions as 2 different weapons. The support weapon as well is absolutely no joke, and the armor passives are so good at different things. I'd absolutely buy this one first thing you do and learn to master its gear. The biggest and safest bang for your buck go-to is the Democratic Detonation Warbond. We get 3 different armor sets. The one on the left has the engineering kit, noticeably reducing recoil when crouching or laying flat, and giving us 2 more grenades. Same for the light armor set in the middle, and the far right heavy set has the fortified passive, reducing recoil when crouching or going prone, and a 50% resistance to explosive damage. The Adjudicator used to be my go-to pick for bots. This medium armor pin, hard-hitting, high recoil assault rifle has seen a lot of different changes throughout its time in the game, settling into a spot of a low-capacity, hard-hitting primary. Modding a vertical grip to lower that recoil helps a ton. Thermite is literally the best throwable in the game. Getting 3 and sticking to any surface, these can one-shot every single enemy besides factory striders, Vox engines, Hive Lords, and Dragon Roaches. Everything else feels the wrath of these massively high-damage throwables. Once deployed, they'll adhere to anything and start burning. After it's done with its burning phase, which also does insane damage, it'll explode in a firework of democracy. I cannot suggest these enough. The Eruptor is also an incredible bring to every front, especially bot and bug. It's an explosive shrapnel launcher sniper that's heavy armor pin and can close any spawner. Having to re-rack the chamber every shot, it's capable of obliterating illegal broadcasts and clearing not just swarms of light enemies, but rivaling tanky guys such as reinforced scout striders or chargers. The expert extraction booster lowers the cooldown of Pelican 1 coming to pick you up at extraction by 30% or around 36 seconds. The grenade pistol as a high utility sidearm, mainly used for bug or illuminate fronts. The only reason I've seen this brought is to bring a utility throwable such as the shield generator or urchin and still be able to close spawners by yourself. Just shoot it into any bug hole or illuminate ship door and you're good to go. The exploding crossbow is insane for clearing out large groups of small enemies and punching hard hitting holes into bigger ones. This silent but deadly primary is one-handed, so it can be paired with any shield or objective equipment like the SSSD. Doing an insane amount of damage to medium-sized enemies, this fills more of a functional niche like the previously mentioned grenade pistol. The democratic detonation is perfect for a bunch of extremely good primaries and functional gear. The thermite is also the best throwable in this entire game. I cannot recommend it enough.
Bro, I've been waiting an entire fucking hour. Can we go to Super Dairy King already?
Yes, alright. You've actually done a pretty good job today. Let me just do the outro, then we'll go. Just make sure to cut the camera, alright?
Yeah, Brody, you can totally trust me.